And it's just a few days until it will start to unfold. Well, you mentioned that the world number 3 is not in the best form, but the world number 1, the world number 2, and the world number 4 pretty much are. And that's why Michael Smith, Michael Van Gerwen, and Gerwyn Price combined as of the time of recording are a Triforce as the 9-2 joint favorites with Betfred. But who would you say, or who would you make to be the favorite to win the title if you were the one setting the odds?
Yes, a tough question, and it's one of our questions of the week on Twitter, so do go and have your say on there. And when I last checked a few hours ago before we started recording, Michael Van Gerwen, he is leading the way on the poll, 64%. Then you've got Gerwyn Price, 17%. Other is at 11%, and then you've got Michael Smith at 8%. And I'll read out a few of our listeners' responses as well, getting in touch. We appreciate that. Johnny Moore saying, was Humphreys until the Polish Masters, still has a damn good chance, but MVG looked unbeatable at the weekend. Rachel Gallagher saying that Wade's a contender for me. His performance at the Euro Tour was brilliant, and the longer leg format makes him very difficult to beat. Tom saying Jamie Robinson for me, and that's not my burner account before you ask, guys. And the last one from our listeners, Lewis, saying that he picked MVG, but he has a rough draw. Dolan, then Hetter or Rock. Oof. And starting with Michael Van Gerwen, we've got to mention the performances at the weekend. We had the World Series event going on in Poland, and I think because of how he performed at the weekend, it's no surprise really to see the poll going the way that it is at the moment, because we weren't sure how Michael was going to perform at the weekend. He had that disappointing tournament on the Euro Tour the previous week. We know that he's just come back from surgery, but a week on, and look what he's done. He's reeled off 98, 110, 104, 113 averages, and you put those 4 averages together in a tournament bracket, they're numbers that for a long time we were accustomed to seeing from Michael Van Gerwen. Those 110 pluses, particularly on TV, they're a bit more rarer, and he's had 3 already this year, 2 in the same day like we saw on Saturday, and that's after not having any last year or in 2021. And okay, 110 averages, they're pretty rare, as I say, but do you need a 110 average to win every game? No, I don't think the standard has got that high just yet, but I think when you see players doing that, reaching those extremely high levels, those extra gears, it will send out a message. It lays down a marker to say, this is how well I can perform. I can reach those extra gears. Can you do the same? And in this World Matchplay format, it's going to be tricky to reach those levels. It's a much longer format. Even the first round, 1st to 10, the final in Poland at the weekend was a race to 8. But I'm with Lewis on this one. I think MVG, although the form at the weekend suggests that he is going to be the favourite, he has got the tougher quarter for me of those 3 players, him, Michael Smith and Gerwyn Price. And okay, Brendan Dolan, first round, he's a tricky customer, but it would be a surprise if he was going to win that game. And you can't look past him. We can, because we're not playing the games, but you look at MVG's route after that game, his route to the semi-finals and the second weekend of the tournament, Damon Hetter or Josh Rock, 2 players that are playing very well. They've got wins behind them. And then it's looking likely it's going to be either Luke Humphreys or Dirk van Dijvenbode. Again, 2 players that have just contested a Euro Tour. Again, 1 titles this year. So because of that, I'm going to take out the form that MVG showed at the weekend. I'm leaning more towards the draw and who they're playing, and I think Gerwyn Price is the favourite. And taking out the World Cup, looking at singles majors in the PDC, he's had the longest time of the 3 since winning one of these majors. So it might be a little bit strange to say that Gerwyn Price is the favourite because of that. But I think for me, I would put him as a slight favourite, maybe as a 4-1, then Michael Smith and MVG at a 9-2. So only a slight favourite, but I think because of the draw that they've got, they're all playing at a high level. We know that, but I think it's going to be MVG that's going to be tested more on that way to the semi-finals, and because of that, I'm going to lean towards Gerwyn Price as my favourite.
Yeah, I can't get past those 3 either, but I want to talk about some of the other players on this question. I agree that Gerwyn Price, although I'll say it for different reasons, should be the favorite here. I think right now he is the best player in the world. He's might not have won as much as he should have for how good he's been this year, and he doesn't seem to have brought that same level to big matches in major finals as he has in pretty much every other match this year. But I think his A game right now is better than Michael Van Gerwen or Michael Smith's A game. He finds his A game more often than either Michael Van Gerwen or Michael Smith find their A game. And his B game is at least on par, if not better, than either of those. It's just a question of timing that he sometimes has not been able to master this year, and that's why he didn't win the Premier League, even though he was the best player for 3/4 of those 4 months. He should be the favorite. In my mind, he's the favorite. That doesn't mean he's going to win it. That doesn't even mean he's going to get past Stephen Bunting in the very first round. He could be out come Saturday night. But he is and should be the favorite because I think he is the best player in this field right now. But I'm not even convinced that one of the big three is going to win this, because the gap, and even if we throw Johnny Clayton in and make it a big four, the gap between them and some of that chasing pack is really not all that wide. Dave Chisnall has already won 2 Euro Tours this year, won the last one of last year, made a Pro Tour final on Monday, made another Euro Tour final a little over a month ago. That's in the space of 10 months, 6 titles or runners-up in Pro Tour events, and more than half of those have been on the European Tour. That's a pretty good standard to be playing at. And I think right now he has a confidence that he's not had before. He's had a belief in his ability to close out matches, close out legs, close out against anyone that I don't think he had even when he was making those 7 major finals. I think Dave Chisnall, he might not be overall playing at a better level than he was 5, 6, 7 years ago when he was a Premier League regular, but he's playing with a confidence that I don't think he had back then. And that makes him scary. That makes him live to win his first major. Luke Humphries as well, obviously finally got over the line in a Euro Tour after losing 4 finals this year. He obviously had no trouble getting over the line last year in those. Also winning that Pro Tour over Dave Chisnall on Monday. Luke Humphries is playing more consistently than he's ever played before. I don't know if he's hit the heights that he did last year, although obviously that Euro Tour a little over a week ago now, where he was averaging well north of 105 for half of the weekend. Pretty good. I don't know who would scoff at a 105 average, but Luke Humphries is playing at the very least more consistently than he ever had, and also seems live to challenge for his first title, and first major title, that is. And Dirk van Dijvenbode as well in that conversation. Damon Hedda winning the Players' Championship event on Tuesday, continuously going deep in almost every event after a slow first couple months of the year. There's a lot of players in that second tier beyond those big 4, big 5 if you want to include Peter Wright, who have every chance and are playing so well. They're not the favorites. They shouldn't be the favorites, but their odds are all enticing for that reason, because they have almost as much chance as Gerwyn Price, Michael Smith, Michael Van Gerwen to win this title. So they're not the favorites, but they're not that far off in my book.